What's up, guys? Andrew here with G3D, and this is going to be a tutorial video on how to put together our modification clip for a tip-up pocket clip on the Milwaukee 6-in-1 Fastback. So everything that you're going to need is going to come in this package here, all of your hardware, the pieces, and a couple drivers. The only things that you're going to need at home are you're going to need a number 1 and number 2 Phillips. I'm just happening to use the ones here on my Leatherman Skeletal, but any number 1 and number 2 Phillips will do. And then I would suggest some kind of a container or organization method to keep your screws separated when you're taking them out, because some screws we are going to be taking out of the Milwaukee and not using anymore. So let's get right into this here. So the bag you're going to get here is going to look like this. Yours will have a G3D sticker on it with the QR code that led you to this video. And then inside, let's take a look at the components that we're going to have here. So put the bag aside. You're going to have 2 plastic pieces. Now, yours are going to look slightly different than mine here. Yours will be a slightly lighter color. Mine's a black. Yours will be kind of like a dark gray color. This was the prototype one that I've been carrying in ABS. Yours will be an ASA, slightly different color, but this is exactly what your pieces will look like. So you're going to have those 2 plastic pieces. You're going to have a T6 Torx driver. You're going to have this Allen wrench. And then you're going to have 3 different kinds of screws. You're going to have the 2 larger Phillips head, which are the 2 number 2 Phillips heads. You're going to have 2 number 1 Phillips. And then you're going to have 4 of these socket head screws. So the only ones that you're going to need is you're going to need 1 of each of the Phillips. The other 2 are spares. So you're not going to need those. So you can go ahead and put those back in the bag. Those are just for if you happen to strip something out or anything goes wrong, you have some spares. And then you're going to need 3 of the socket heads. So you're going to be able to put 1 back. Just put those back in your bag. Those are extra for you if you need them. So one disclaimer we have to make here, again, any number 1 or number 2 Phillips head will work. We do recommend you use the T6 and the Allen key that comes with it. Just because that's how we've been putting them together. If you do use your owns, the only thing that we're saying is on the Allen key, do not use one of the ball head ends. It won't lock properly with the socket head screw, and you might risk stripping that out. So if you're going to use your own drivers, that's totally fine. Just be aware, don't use the ball end Allen keys. It's also very important that on your Phillips head screws, you use the proper Phillips heads. Just because you are going to be kind of fine threading these into either a plastic or a brass insert, you want to make sure that you're not over tightening anything, and you want to make sure you're not going to strip your screws out. So make sure you have a number 1 and a number 2 Phillips. So what we're going to start by doing here, you have the Milwaukee here. The first thing you're going to do is take your number 2 Phillips, and you're going to take off the screw holding in your pocket clip. Normally, the Milwaukee comes with a tip-down orientation. Our modification will allow you to carry tip up. So take that screw out, toss that aside, and pull your clip out. That's all you have to do on that end. The only other thing you have to do on that end is take your T6, your T6 Torx driver, and this screw here on the left side, you're going to back that out. Back that all the way out, and then set that aside as well. You're not going to need that anymore. So now we're ready to assemble. You can also now set aside your T6 driver. The T6 driver is just to take that 1 screw out. We just wanted to provide it with you to make sure everyone has the right tools. Everyone has Phillips heads, not everyone has Torx. So you can set that T6 driver aside. And then you're going to take your first plastic piece here, the one that looks like that has this little hinge on it with that lip. What you're going to do is sit that down inside there, and that little lip is going to hook down right underneath there. So you're just going to slide that in, and you'll kind of feel it go flush. You just want everything to be flush with that metal bracket there. That's what that's going to look like. And then the other one, you're going to take your other plastic piece here, and you're just going to push this in to this side like that. You might feel it click, but it will be securely in place, and what you're looking for is that it is flush with the scales on the Milwaukee and there's no or relatively no gapping around here. Don't mind the scuffing. This is the one that I had done drop tests on, but that's about what you want it to look like. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take these 3 socket head screws, and you're going to carefully thread them in to these 3 holes here. 1, 2, 3. That's where these 3 screws are going to go. Now you're not going to fully thread these in yet. This is just for alignment purposes. You're making sure that you have the tool aligned properly. And these are threading into these brass inserts here on the back. So you don't want to over tighten them. For now, what you want to do is thread them in until they're about flush with the top of the plastic. So let me go ahead and get those in, and I'll show you what that looks like. So you're going to want them about like that, about flush with the top of the plastic. You're not running them all the way in yet. Again, this is just for alignment purposes. Go ahead and put your second one in and do the same thing. Run that in. Again, not all the way down so that they're countersunk yet, but just enough so that they're flush with the top of that plastic. So it's going to look like that on the second one. And then the same thing on the third. I'm going to go ahead and run that in so it's about flush with your plastic. So now we know that this is aligned with this. These have started to thread into those brass inserts, and those are being pulled together. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your number 1 Phillips, the smaller of the 2, and you're going to use that hole that originally we had taken this screw out of, and you're going to thread that into that hole. Now, this one is a slightly larger screw than the original hole, so as you're turning this in, you are going to feel it bite into the plastic a little bit. That's okay. So you're just going to want to keep threading that down until that's snug. And what you're going to be looking for is maintaining the flush fitment of the plastic piece to the scale of the Milwaukee. So we're just going to walk this in. Again, I've done this one on this one already, so there's not quite as much resistance on my end. You might feel a little resistance, that's okay. But all you're looking for is that it is flush with the scale. So that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to make sure that's, just finger tight. Don't want to over tighten that. And then your last step is going to be putting your pocket clip in those 2 slots. Mine, I've already kind of bent how I want it. But you're just going to put those in there. On the first time you put these in, they're kind of just going to snap in. And then you're going to take your number 2 Phillips and thread that into the center hole. So we want to take, again, make sure we're using the right size Phillip head. We don't want to strip our screws out. And this one you're really going to want to get tight. Again, not going to like muscle it where you're taking a breaker bar out or anything and really cranking on it, but you're going to want to get this one decently tight. And then what you're going to look for to check your fitment is that, again, this isn't flush, and then you're going to want to check to see if your pocket clip is the right height. So when you first put these in, the pocket clip might sit up from the scale a little bit. What you can do, I'm going to back this out here just to show you, what you can do to fix that, if you back that screw all the way out, so you might have to do this a couple times to get the clip how you want it. Oh, almost got it. So to get that out, all you're going to do is take a pair of plumber's pliers or needle nose or whatever and just ever so slightly bend those in on either side until they are the kind of angle that you want. And you can just do that by, pinching them a little bit. Don't overdo it, because if you do it too much, it's not going to fit properly. But just pinch them down a little bit and then go ahead again and run that screw back in. So that's tight. And again, you want it to be touching the scale, at least I do, so you have a little bit of tension on that pocket clip. And then the last thing you're gonna do is go ahead and turn all three of these socket head screws all the way down. They will be recessed. So you want them, you know, just finger tight. And go ahead and thread all of them down. You'll feel a little bit of resistance there toward the end. Don't over tighten them. And then I'll show you an indication here for how you know they're in the right spot. There you go. So on this side, you're looking for these to be recessed in those pockets, and then on this side, you want those screws to be flush with the end of those brass inserts. If the screws are sticking out too far, like you can see that one there is sticking out a little bit far, just go ahead and back that out a little bit. So you want those screws to be flush with those brass inserts and recessed inside of their respective pockets. Once you do that, everything should be nice and tight. Your clip should be secure. You should have good tension on your clip, and you are ready to go. And now you have a fully functioning 6-in-1 Milwaukee Fastback that the mod does not hinder at all, but now you have a tip-up pocket clip as God intended. So I hope that helps you out, guys. If you have any questions, please feel to hit us up on our email, g3dprintables@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on our Instagram, g3dprintables. Feel free to send us a DM or an email if you have any questions. If you have any problems with your hardware or you have a hard time getting this together, again, please reference this video, but we're always happy to help. Please send us a message. So hope this helps, and hope you enjoy the pocket clip mod.